Before we dive into the video, we have to talk about one of the most polarizing but fascinating entries in the early Marvel era. Released in 2003 and directed by Ang Lee, Hulk is a movie that feels more like a Greek tragedy than a standard superhero flick. For the road to Avengers Doomsday, this version of Bruce Banner gives us a look at a much more primal and volatile variant than what we're used to in the MCU. The movie starts with David Banner. After the army denies his human testing project, David experiments on himself and passes those alterations down to Bruce, because nothing says Father of the Year like taking your baby's blood for research. When David is kicked off the project, he sabotages the base and heads home. We don't see exactly what happens in that bedroom with Bruce's mom, but the thudding and yelling tells us everything we need to know. It's heavy, it's dark, and it grounds the Hulk in a type of generational trauma the MCU usually brushes over. Flash forward to Bruce as an adult scientist working with his ex, Betty Ross. While they struggle with gamma tests, Bruce is being stalked by the new janitor, who, surprise, is David. Keep an eye on the editing here. Ang Lee uses these multi-panel comic book transitions that perfectly mirror Bruce's fractured psyche. It's visual storytelling that highlights the shards of his personality before they finally merge. When the lab accident happens and Bruce takes the full force of a gamma wave to save an assistant, it's not just a freak accident, it's the catalyst for all that suppressed childhood rage to finally manifest. But a mutation needs a trigger, and that comes in the form of General Ross and Glenn Talbot breathing down his neck. The first transformation is triggered when those childhood memories collide with the stress of the military's arrival and Bruce's nightmares. Bruce has a massive panic attack, and the Hulk finally claws his way out. He destroys the lab and wakes up at home with no memory of the transformation, and is immediately hunted by Ross. David then reveals his true colors by sending his mutated dogs after Betty. The CGI on these dogs hasn't aged perfectly, but the fight is visceral. This isn't the hero Hulk from the Avengers, this is a desperate animalistic brawl. Hulk wins, but he's exhausted, which leads right into his capture by the military. While Bruce is busy being the military's most expensive prisoner, David decides it's time for an upgrade. He heads back to the lab and uses the Gamma Sphere on himself, but instead of turning into a giant green rage monster, he gains the ability to absorb the properties of anything he touches. It's basically the Absorbing Man power set from the comics, which is a cool nod for the hardcore fans. He tests this out by touching a slab of steel and literally becoming a metal man. This ties back to the idea of biological adaptability. David isn't just mutated, he is a transhuman bridge. Much like the experiments we suspect could lead to the MCU's more grounded take on the super adaptoid, or what we've already seen in AIM's Extremis tech in Iron Man 3. Bruce is taken to a high-security desert lab where Talbot, who is basically just a walking punching bag in this movie, attacks him to try and force a transformation. It almost does the trick, but Bruce manages to keep the lid on it. It isn't until they have him soaking in a sensory deprivation tank that the wall finally breaks. Once the wall is down, there's no going back. Hulk escapes the base and goes on a literal rampage through the desert. It's kind of funny watching him crush tanks and throw fighter jets like they're toys. The movie tries to act like no one is dying because nothing blows up, but let's be real, those soldiers are definitely flat as pancakes. Hulk makes it to San Francisco, where only Betty can calm him down. The finale is an abstract, beautiful lightning storm fight in the clouds. David tries to drain Bruce's gamma, but Bruce basically says, "Take it all," overloading him right before a gamma nuke finishes the job. We end with the epilogue in South America, where a still alive Bruce gives the classic "Don't make me angry" warning before we hear that iconic roar. If this Primal Hulk is the literal blueprint for the Savage Hulk rumors we're seeing in the brand new day leaks. If the MCU is stripping away Smart Hulk for Doomsday, this 2003 version is the psychological map for where Bruce is headed.